Let's imagine for a second an alternative historical scenario. What if Goldwater had won? Let's say that LBJ pulls out of the race due to aggravated scrotal trauma. He chooses instead Hubert H. Humphrey as vice president. Now, Hubert Humphrey is an avuncular hack from Minnesota who's been pining for the job since the end of World War II. Nobody takes him seriously, so Goldwater wins. Goldwater doesn't mess around in Vietnam. He ends that war in 2 weeks flat. The world knows, don't mess with the USA. Unfortunately, his refusal to deal with Arab nations and their oil exports leads to a gas shortage. With the gas shortage, the auto industry stagnates. With no cars, America just becomes this place with a lot of vintage automobiles, really cool looking, but held together with duct tape, also known as Havana chrome, and the auto industry does not progress. Thus, we never get the nimble Ford Bronco in which O.J. Simpson leads the LAPD on a high-speed chase. That chase would have been on foot, and O.J. would have easily outrun the cops because, let's face it, he was one of the fastest runners in the NFL. No O.J., no trial. No trial, no Robert Kardashian, who rose to prominence defending O.J. on the murder rap. Robert Kardashian just would have been a two-bit ambulance-chasing chiseler from Los Angeles, and his 3 daughters would be vapid, inconsequential bimbos hanging out at the mall. Let's imagine for a second an alternative historical scenario. What if Dukakis, instead of answering robotically, had actually said to Bernard Shaw, "I'm sorry, Bernard, did you just ask me what if my wife was raped? How about we step outside and I punch your lights out?" Then he would have been a national hero, easily beaten George H.W. Bush. No George H.W. Bush, no George Bush Jr. 12 years later to follow in his footsteps. George Bush Jr. would still have been owner of the Texas Rangers baseball team, which he would have run into the ground. So now Texas fans switch their allegiance to the Dallas Mavericks of the NBA. The Mavericks have a huge payroll and are able to hold on to both Chris Humphries and Lamar Odom instead of trading them to the LA Clippers, where they promptly go off and marry Kardashians, thus perpetuating the tawdry freak show nature of reality TV. The Kardashians would just be 3 inconsequential, vapid bimbos hanging out at the mall. Let's imagine for a second an alternative historical scenario. What if Al Gore had become president? How would the world be different? Sorry, can't come up with anything. Nothing would have changed. His most notable achievement would be just making it into this documentary to fill up some space. Same as his presidency. Yeah, he might have lowered global temperatures by, I don't know, half a degree, but let's face it, the Kardashians would still be showing way too much skin. Nothing changes. My guess is that being president, for better or worse, is a long, strange trip you never quite come back from. After all, you've been the most powerful man in the world. What are you going to do for a rush after that? That's why Bill Clinton is going to feel like the luckiest guy in the world if he gets back into the White House as the first dude, gets to run around and pee in every corner and remark his territory. If that sounds like a prediction, it is. You don't have to panic, Britain. Donald Trump is not going to be president. I will wager everything on that. I will go so far as to say, if Donald Trump becomes president, I will never appear on British television again. And that is a promise. Ha! Who am I kidding? Trump becomes president, I'm spending all my time in Britain. I'm Rich Hall, and I approve this message.